Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is an educational channel, and we look into all kinds of stuff that has been suppressed, things that you probably don't know about, because the powers that be are trying to shield you from them. But if you only knew, they'd revolutionize your life in terms of your quest for better spiritual, mental, and physical health. And this is a segment we have called the Q-tip of the spear, where we look into all aspects of the InfoWar, but particularly those podcasters who are covering the cutting edge of the InfoWar, particularly with that 17th letter. And if you've been watching me, you've probably heard me talk about how I believe that the InfoWar, this phase of it is over, and that the deep state, the uh, globalists have been defeated. Um, they are deflated right now, and they are basically circling the drain. Now, they may be circling the drain for a few months, maybe even for a year. I doubt that long, but could be going on for quite some time. Um, but that gives you time to kind of, I mean, your options now are to kick back, get some popcorn, and watch the losers all get punished. Or you can just assume that they're going to get punished, and you can redeploy yourself in getting ready for the next phase. And I think that this is important because we need to get a jump. We need to get a head start for this next phase, which is more having to do with implementation of the agenda. So this is where the real, we're just right now just erasing the, the mistakes, but we actually have to implement something. And I don't believe that we're even capable of implementing anything coherent at this point, um, because our belief systems are incoherent. They are not well thought through, and they are not circumspect. There are blatant holes and um, irrational aspects of our belief systems because they haven't been scrutinized in the same way that you've scrutinized, the psyops and the false flags, the hoaxes, um, but you have not scrutinized your more cherished beliefs that go back further in your life to, your more foundational or formational time of your life where you established your rhythm of life, your habits and your rituals and your holidays and the things that are important to you, and you've accepted those things even though they are, as scrutiny will tell you, they are just as big of psyops and hoaxes and false flags as all the stuff from the 20th and 21st century, the Kennedy assassination and the, Gulf of Tonkin and Pearl Harbor and all of it. The stuff that dates back further, that your holy books, your classic books, your your heroes, cultural heroes. Um, these things are all purely deep state globalist propaganda, but they're just much older. When the when the old-fashioned deep state, when the deep state didn't have to be as deep, and um, but so now you have the chance to cut out of this info war while the getting is good. It's kind of like leaving the stadium of a sporting event, a football game in the fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, you're up by 3 touchdowns. You're not going to lose. You've got the ball. Uh, make a run for it right now. You can get out of the parking lot before any of the rush, and you can be home, getting ready for the next event by the time most people are even at their car. And that's what we need to do is we need to get the jump on the next phase, because this phase is is merely a reenactment. These events have already been played out. Um, they just haven't been shown to the public. And so, by kind of withdrawing, or at least just keeping one eye on the events and not getting invested in them, you can start to apply yourself, apply your considerable red pilling skills, your digging ability to everything about your upbringing, your conditionings and your belief systems and your values, your heroes and your important documents. Do these things really stand up to scrutiny? Where did they come from? What is their history? Who wrote them? When did they write them? What language were they written in? All of these questions, what was the context? Don't just read the documents themselves. Read, you know, histories of the documents and explanations of the documents. Because when you're going back that far into the, now, I certainly recommend that you read the documents first. Read them through first once, and so you get a a real estimation of what they are in your mind. But then after you've gone through them once, then you start looking at the supplementary material, the secondary sources that kind of explain what is it that I'm really reading here? This is very confusing. Who are these people that they're talking about here? Where are these different locations that they're talking about? What else was going on in time at this juncture? All of these different questions need to enter into the conversation. And I've just noticed that the patriots generally, when you read the Bible, especially, you read it like it's sacrosanct. You don't really question it. You just kind of read it and it's true. And it, nothing could be more mistaken than that approach. It has to be read just like you read any other document, with a high level of scrutiny, and asking questions, going down rabbit holes. Who are these people here? What was the purpose of that line? And are there? And then the hint I would give you is that you should check out the work of Josephus, the Roman Jewish historian who wrote um, The War of the Jews in 7 volumes, and also Jewish Antiquities against Appian, and his Vita. All of those are worth looking at. But War of the Jews, in particular, in comparison with your New Testament. and that will help you kind of decode what you're looking at. But definitely, some understanding of the situation into which these books were written is absolutely mandatory for understanding what's going on. And I don't think that one patriot out of 1,000 has done that. Um, and the ones who have looked at it even still with more of a not an expansive enough scope, thinking that, oh well, there's something missing, or these other books need to be also brought in. Um, well, possibly, but the problems are deeper than that. The problems are that the Romans are the true authors, and they wrote it as a psychological operation against the Jews. And so it's entirely a psychological operation, and it's entirely fiction. And it can be demonstrated as such, starting with Josephus, or with all the circumstantial evidence, and just, it's almost like, duh, of course the Romans wrote that. Of course they did. Who else would have written it? Everything was a psyop, not just stuff from the 21st and 20th century, going back all the way through history. All of it's a psyop. Don't cling to anything. All of this stuff that you're clinging to is just going to create these attachments that are going to not serve you well in the future. And we all are going to need every edge that we can get coming up here, because as I said, this stage of the battle has been won, but there's another stage coming up that's going to be harder, and it's going to demand more. And that's why you should redeploy and get ready for another set of red pilling to get yourself ready for the next phase. Okay, like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and share out. And we will return tomorrow for another episode of the Q-Tip of the Spear. Thanks for tuning in today, and have a great